Hi, thank you for joining me tonight here on Zoom. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Kate, and I am a wife, mother of two, full-time professional as well. So I've got a lot of things going on. So that's why I love me some CBD. So I'm excited to talk to you guys tonight about CBD. I know that this is something new to a lot of us, so I'm just gonna kind of go over some history, talk about the basics, talk about ways to use it, why we love to use it, different terminology and stuff when it comes to CBD. And at the end, if anybody has any questions, or while I'm going, if you have any questions, feel free to pop them in the comments and we'll be able to address them as they come in. So let me know too if you're watching the replay where you're watching it from, and I hope you learned some fun stuff tonight. So let's just start out with the history. So the hemp plant is just amazing. So it goes way back in history. Its earliest was found in 8,000 BC. So that's a long time. So for over 10,000 years, we've been using this wonderful plant. It was first found in it was first brought to the United States, I should say, in the 1600s. And in the 1700s, farmers were actually legally required to grow hemp on their farms. And it's fun fact, George Washington actually grew hemp. A lot of presidents grew hemp. It was a common thing to grow way back in the day when our country was first founded. So any history people here, what happened in 1776? Wow, the Declaration of Independence. Guess what it was written on? Hemp paper, right? So in 1916, studies came out saying that hemp could produce as much paper in 1 acre as 4 acres of trees. So you guys know how long it takes for trees to grow, right? A very long time. And so hemp grows very fast, about 4 months. In 4 months, hemp can produce as much paper as it takes years and years in 4 acres of trees. So, and that's about in the 1930s is really when the propaganda campaign started. And so unfortunately, hemp got wrapped into all of that, reefer madness, all that kind of stuff, and which after decades of different propaganda in the 1970s is when hemp and cannabis and other drugs were classified in the Controlled Substance Act. So that was actually under Nixon, and hemp was labeled as a Schedule I drug. Now, guys, we'll go over this more, but you can't get high off hemp, okay? So it just is absurd to me that it was ever labeled a drug. There's lots of reasons behind it. So if you can imagine that hemp can grow so quickly and so easily, the logging industry did not like that. Another thing that it threatened was tobacco. The big tobacco did not like it. Alcohol was more like into the cannabis, but they kind of got grouped in together. Oil industries didn't like it because you can make oil out of the hemp plant too. Cotton didn't like it because you can make fibers that are better than cotton. And so a lot of these industries band together, and that is really what helped propel the propaganda campaigns against hemp. So that was in the 1970s, no more hemp, right? We've been using hemp as a people since 8,000 BC when they found it in China and Taiwan, in historical artifacts, all the way up to the 1970s, and then all of a sudden 1970s come in Controlled Substance Act, and it was classified as a drug. Doesn't make sense, right? Okay, so in 1998 is when the United States started allowing imports in. So from 1970 to the late 90s, there was no hemp products really in this country. It's just crazy. And I remember I was actually a teenager then, and there was a store in our town that was called the Hemp Shop, I think, something like that. But all their stuff was imported. It was very expensive, but it was very nice stuff. The softest shirts I've ever felt, just really cool products, plastic that wasn't plastic. It was made from hemp, and it was all very expensive because it had to be imported. But that's when I started learning about hemp. And it's just really fascinating when you look at the history and how much this plant was used. And then all of a sudden, no more. So in 2007, the first hemp license was actually granted in 50 years. So, and that was in North Dakota. So they allowed them to start growing hemp there. And then in 2014, the Farm Bill actually allowed for research type things to grow. So not to grow it for commercial use or anything, but to grow it for research. And then just in 2018, so not that long ago, hemp was removed from the Controlled Substance Act. So they had tried to get hemp like legalized in a different way, but in the end, the easiest way to do it was just to remove it from the Controlled Substance Act. So in 2018, now CBD is legal in all 50 states. So yay, that was a win for hemp, right? But you know, it's really the new frontier for plant medicine. It, you know, in modern medicine, really think about the 70s and think about today, how much modern medicine and just how much scientific exploration and labs, just think about a lab in general that studies, say for instance, essential oils back in the 70s versus today. Completely different, right? Think about computers in the 70s. So there's just, it's a new frontier and it's really exciting. And I'm really excited to live in this time. I know my dad used to always tell me when I was younger, because he was always a hemp and cannabis enthusiast. And he would say, you know, in the grand scheme of the world, hemp is only illegal for one little tiny pinprint. We just happen to live in it. So it's really exciting to see those laws changed, and for people to recognize like the value that this plant really has is really exciting. So I just like to kind of start with the history, just to kind of like address the elephant in the room, which is the stigma, right? A lot of people don't know about hemp. So the first thing they think is, oh, you know, is this, you know, people use funny terms back in the day, like, is this dope? Is this, you know, is this going to get me high? You know, is this going to make me want to eat a lot of food? There's all kinds of like preconceived notions that go along with it. So that's why I really just like to talk about the history so that we can kind of just see that in the grand scheme of things, for, you know, almost 10,000 years, this plant was used, and then for a minuscule 48, it wasn't. So it's really exciting that Young Living has some hemp products and CBD products, I should say, because it really is the new frontier, and it's really exciting to see what's going to happen. So why do we like to use CBD? So CBD can be used for a lot of different things. And it works differently for everybody in their body, but some things that CBD may support in your body is like your body's natural inflammation response, feelings of happiness, calm, well-being, healthy blood pressure levels, like healthy bones and muscles, high quality sleep, that's a big one, healthy brains, healthy bellies, so good for digestive support, happy backs, clear skin. I mean, the list really goes on and on, what it can help with. So there's different kinds of CBD. So not all CBD is created equal. So similar to essential oils, and those of you that may have seen my other videos know that I love essential oils, but I'm very particular on which essential oils I love. So CBD is very similar. Please don't go buy your CBD at a gas station. CBD, the hemp plant, purity matters. So one thing that's really cool with the hemp plant is when it's growing, this can be good and bad, is it sucks in all the nutrients from the soil, from its environment. So if you're using pesticides, or if you're growing it in a farm that had used pesticides previously, if there's arsenic in the dirt, the hemp plant's gonna suck that up, and that's gonna come out and translate into your CBD products. So quality is really important. And the reason why I love Young Living is because of their quality. The quality just surpasses everything. And don't listen to Young Living, don't listen to me, look at third-party results. And Young Living has state-of-the-art testing facilities, but they don't just test all their own stuff, third parties test it too, which is, you know, it's one thing to say you're the best, but you have to have other people say it too for it to be true, right? So there's different kinds of CBD. And before we talk about that, let's just talk about the difference between CBD and THC. So CBD stands for cannabidiol and THC stands for tetrahydrocannabinol. So they're two separate things and they come they're like cousins. So the more THC, something that's going to get you like the euphoric feeling of getting you high, is going to come from like the cannabis plant, marijuana plant, cannabis. THC is in the hemp plant, but it's such a small amount. It's like 0.3% or 0.03%. I can't remember which one. Don't quote me on that. But it's such a small trace amount that's the federal government said that's fine. We can have full spectrum CBD because it's such a small amount. You really couldn't ingest enough to ever get high. So you would, though, however, possibly be able to ingest enough or to have enough that it could show up on a drug test. So that can be problematic for some people. So we'll talk a little bit about that. And but there are two different plants. They look different. They have different characteristics. So that was part of how it got swept into the Controlled Substances Act. Was back in the day, they said, oh, you can't tell hemp and marijuana apart. You know, both gone. But that's not quite true. You can tell them apart. They're different plants. So yes. So don't worry if you don't, aren't going to get high from any of these products. So don't worry. And if you wanted to, sorry. Okay, so let's talk about different types of CBD. So how I mentioned that there are some that have THC in it, that's called full spectrum. And so full spectrum products really are going to be the most effective because you have the terpenes that are found in the THC. And with the full spectrum, you're also going to have the oils and just different types of chemical compounds are found when you have the whole plant. And that's really more what the full spectrum is. So the other thing for full spectrum that has the THC is an isolate. And so what an isolate is they take the plant down and they isolate the CBD. So it's 99.99% CBD. It has 0 THC. So what's nice about an isolate is that for people who don't want any THC in their system because they might be getting a drug test, maybe they're a doctor, a nurse, a policeman, military, any of those things that you need a drug test, for work or perhaps other reasons, but you can't have any THC, an isolate is a great alternative. The downfall to an isolate is that it doesn't have the terpenes that are found in a full spectrum. So the endocannabinoid system is a regulatory system in our body that functions and it helps to regulate things like the nervous system, endocrine system, and immune system. So in order to really open up the endocannabinoid system, you want CB1 and CB2 receptors open up. And how to do that is with a full spectrum. So what's really nice about Young Living is that they've created a whole third option. So they're the only company right now that I know doing this, but they're infusing the isolate with terpenes that are found in essential oils. So some of the terpenes that are found in full spectrum include like limonene. Have you heard that if you use essential oils? Beta-carotene, terpene, myrcene, however you say that, linolene. Of course, I'm probably butchering half of these names, but you guys know what I'm talking about. You can look it up. And then like carotene. All of these terpenes that are found in full spectrum that make it so powerful are also found in essential oils. So Young Living has created what we call the smart spectrum. And it's not a full spectrum because it doesn't have the THC and it's still made from an isolate, but it's a smart spectrum because you're opening up the CB1 and CB2 receptors with the terpenes from essential oils. So how cool is that, guys? So let me talk really quick about what the CB1 and CB2 receptors are. I'm going to show you this picture. This is a great book, by the way. I highly recommend it. It's super short, but very informative. It's called CBD Plant Wellness by Cody Lynn Collar. Probably butchering that too. And anyway, so I love this chart because the CB1 receptors of the endocannabinoid system are activated with THC or the terpenes that are found in the synergistic effect with Young Living's Smart Spectrum. So those control things like motor activity, thinking, appetite, short-term memory, your immune cells, central nervous system, brain, that kind of thing. Now the CB2 receptors, that is what is helped with the CBD. So that has everything. The receptors can be found in the gut, kidneys, pancreas, skeletal muscles, bone, eyes, reproductive system, immune system, respiratory tract, skin, central nervous system, cardiovascular system, liver. So when you are activating both of these receptors, that's where you get the whole body wellness, right? So it's really cool that Young Living has been able to give us a full spectrum without THC, because for some people it's really important not to have THC in their system, but they still want the whole synergistic effect of a full spectrum. So I just love that Young Living has given us this other option. So I'm going to talk about 3 of my favorite products, and I actually got them in a super fun starter kit. So one way to buy is to get a little starter kit. This is the best value, definitely the best bang for your buck. So this comes in 2 different strengths. The one I got was the lower strength. So this bottle has 500 milligrams of CBD in it. And this particular flavor's citrus. So there's also a cinnamon and a peppermint. And this is like a tincture. So it just comes with a little dropper. For the 500 milligram, each dropper contains about 16 milligrams of CBD. So what I recommend usually is for people to try like maybe a half dropper in the morning, half a dropper at night, and see how that goes. And do that for like a week or 2. And then if you want to up it, you can up it. And if you don't, if it's feeling great, then just keep it there. You can also get this in a 1,000 milligram bottle. And that's just going to be twice the bang. So instead of 16 milligrams per dropper, you're looking at like 32, right? So it's just more potent. So that might be for somebody who wants more or who wants to take less at a time. But these are all great. So my husband really loves the peppermint one. He needs extra gastro support. And so that peppermint oil, those of us who use essential oils know how good peppermint is for your digestive system and to help support a natural digestion and all that good stuff. So, and then I really love the cinnamon too. I thought it was going to be really strong, but it's not. It's very mild for cinnamon because cinnamon can be very strong. So, and then cinnamon is very good for your immune system. So since CBD is so great for immune support, popping in that cinnamon too is just amazing. So I really love this tincture. I was going to look up what cinnamon. Okay, and then, so that's a little, and then this starter kit also comes with a calm roller. And this is 300 milligrams. It also comes in a 600 milligram. And this, oh, it just smells so divine. So rollers can be used on like the VitaFlex point. So I like to put this, even on your wrist. You could put it right here. You could put it on the back of your neck. You can put it on the bottom of your feet, down your spine. There's lots of different places to use this. I've been using this a lot lately for my skin. I just recently got a tattoo and like around the skin just gets really itchy after the first week or so, then it starts getting itchy. And so I was like, I don't want to scratch. And this was really calming for my skin to help support that natural skin and to not be itchy. So I love this. It smells really great. Let me read the ingredients to you. So it has a bunch of beautiful carrier oils: argan, avocado, apricot, primrose, and hemp seed oil. So hemp seed oil can also be used as a carrier oil, which is really fun. And then it has rosehip oil and sweet almond oil. So some really nice carrier oils. And then of course the CBD. Then it has lavender, vetiver, frankincense, orange, and ylang ylang. So this is really good for sleep too. So calm sleep, right? This is amazing. And my kids also really love this too. So what's nice about this having no THC is even though the full spectrum is legal, some people might be hesitant to give it to their kids just because it's still kind of a gray area with THC, and people, you know, might not feel fully comfortable with that. This is a great alternative because it doesn't have any THC in it. And then, so I kind of saved the best for last. This is a life changer for me. CBD joint and muscle balm. Oh my goodness, this stuff is amazing. My grandma even told me that she thought this was the best thing she's ever bought. So I just highly, highly, highly recommend this. So let me read the ingredients of this and you can see why it's so powerful. Okay, so this has like the beeswax, shea butter, and safflower oil, and that's kind of like the carrier oil. And then it has in here tea tree, lemon, peppermint, clove, vitamin E, arnica, there's a powerhouse right there, CBD, wintergreen, and helichrysum. So do me a favor tonight and Google helichrysum. You'll see also why that's great. This just is amazing. So, you know, a few weeks ago, I woke up like I just slept wrong on my neck. It just didn't feel right. And so I just rubbed a little bit on this, and it's like, it numbs. So what the arnica, I think, is what numbs it too, and the wintergreen and just the essential oils that are in here, but it like numbs it right away. And you know, I couldn't even barely turn this way or that way. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh, my neck feels great. Another thing I use this for a lot in the summer was I'm really bad about putting on bug repellent until it's too late. So I usually always get like 1 or 2 bites, even though I should know better. This is amazing for bug bites. So I put this on my bug bites and it's just numb. So really, really soothing. This is just an all-time great muscle rub. And this also comes in 2 strengths. So this is the 300. I haven't tried the 600, but I couldn't even imagine what that is like, because this, at first I was like, this is too good to be true. It's amazing. I don't really ever want to go too far from this because it's just so powerful for me and so helpful. And so the 600, I can only imagine what that's like. But this lasts a long time. So I've had it for a while, and there's still quite a bit left, and it just smells so strong and so good. And so this is really great, a great way to use CBD as well. So when we're talking about using Young Living and using CBD and using any product, it's really, so if you're feeling, you know, a lot of stress or you need help sleeping, if you're going to use the tincture once, it's really probably not going to work, unfortunately. You know, I wish it were that easy. It's the repetitive, and it's using it every day. So what I do for my family is there's several ways to buy this. So you can buy, say you're like, oh, I need that muscle rub. That stuff sounds amazing. You can just buy the muscle rub by itself. You can buy as a retail customer, or if you already use Young Living, then you've probably already got a starter kit. And if you haven't, it's the way to go. So you can buy retail. I usually don't recommend that, because if you bought just this with a starter kit, it would be $10 more than buying it retail. And you would get a bottle of stress away oil, you get some hand sanitizer, and you get a wholesale membership. So with the starter kits, you get, it can be anywhere from $35 up to about $100 and maybe $80 is the most expensive. Don't quote me there. And you get stuff with it. So think like BJ's or Costco or Amazon Prime. They're charging you every year, and you don't get anything with it, right? I pay the $129 for Amazon Prime, and I mean, I guess with that I get TV and stuff, but you really don't get much, right? With Young Living, it's great because the starter kit, like this starter kit was $165, the one I just showed you, and you get all of these, so it's such a great deal, rather than buying them individually. And then you get 24% off all of your future orders. So that's really the best way to buy through Young Living, is to get a wholesale membership so that you can get those, the 24% off. And then the best way to buy is to have your wholesale membership and then to get set up with Essential Rewards. So Essential Rewards is just such a great program. I've been using it for over 2 years now. I had first used it actually way before Young Living got into CBD, switching out all my household products to non-toxic products. So about a little over 2.5 years ago, I started looking into like the products that I was using around my children. And just their shampoo alone had carcinogens, things that are bad for reproductive health, all kinds of toxic stuff, and it was marketed towards children. And that's what really opened up my eyes. And I said, I need to look into this and see what's in my products more. And that's when I found Young Living. It was just happened to be the perfect timing for me. And so I'm very fortunate for that. And when I first started learning about all the products, I was like, I'm going to switch out everything. Tomorrow I'm getting all new stuff. But, the reality of it was I couldn't afford to do that. And so what Essential Rewards allowed me to do was transfer buy. So instead of buying my dish soap and laundry soap and shampoos and makeup and all that stuff at the Target, I was buying it through Young Living. And so I was already on Essential Rewards when this CBD stuff came out. And so I just added that to my monthly regimen. And so what we get every month is one bottle of tincture. So we use this as a family, and we get this every month in our Essential Rewards. And so what Essential Rewards is it's 50 PV. So that is roughly $1 is equal to 1 PV. So whatever the dollar amount is usually the same for the PV, or there could be a little discrepancy for sales and some of that. But anyway, so around $50 a month, and you can pick whatever you want to put in the box. You can take out. So some months, I get like all my cleaning products and household products. Other months I might get a bunch of my toothpaste and shampoos. Sometimes I'll get makeup, whatever we need. So it's very, very, very flexible. There's products for everybody. But what's nice about the CBD stuff is you can get started with your CBD starter kit and then get on Essential Rewards with your tincture or your, unless you're slathering this on all day, every day, I don't think you could use this up in a month. My rollers usually last like years to say probably, or at least a year because I have a few, but I use this a lot and there's still, a little goes a long way. And same with this, a little goes a long, long way. If you're not used to using Young Living products yet and you're brand new, start small. Okay. Everything's super concentrated. So then getting your starter kit, and then the next month, after you use your whole oil, you can get another oil. And this is something that you'd want to use more regularly. So this might be a good thing to put in your Essential Rewards, along with some of your other products that you might get. And I just love them. So they're just really great for your overall health, and just your whole, like a holistic whole body approach to wellness. Instead of, a lot of people focus on, the sickness and stuff, but we really like to focus here in my house on like the wellness, and it seems to be doing a lot better for us when we focus on our whole body, and how we can support it the best that we can with the tools that we have. So I just love CBD. So I hope you guys learned something tonight. Again, if you have any questions, you can pop them down in the comments. You can always let us know where you're watching from. And one thing, if you are interested in getting started, you can always go back to the person who sent you here to watch this video, and they can help you. One of my favorite things about the group that I'm in is I didn't know, I was fortunate enough to my friend introduced me to Young Living and just got me plugged into this amazing group. But the resources are endless. So it does depend on what group you're kind of in. So you're fortunate enough to be in this video, then you're fortunate enough to know somebody in this group. And you can just go on the Facebook groups, and there are private. So only people in our group can be on there. And you can Google just kind of like I should say Google, you can search, just kind of like Google anything, if you're have some question, any question, and there's just so many resources. So you don't have to go at it alone. So unlike maybe going to, please don't buy your CBD at a big box store or a grocery gas station. But, if you did, nobody's there to help you. Nobody's there if you have questions. Nobody's there to teach you about it or educate you. But what's great about our group and Young Living is that there are tons of resources and there are people there to help you. So if you do have questions and you forgot something I said, but you think about it a few weeks later and you're like, I wonder, I can't remember. There are those resources, and chances are somebody else has asked that question before in our group. And it's so simple as to just pop it in the search bar and try to find it. So, yeah, so let me know if you have any questions, and then I really appreciate you guys' time here tonight. I know everybody's busy, so I hope you learned something and had some fun, and hope to see you in another video soon.